How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much for watching. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. This is my review of 1993's Falling Down. This movie was directed by Joel Schumacher, and I know a lot of people don't really care for Mr. Schumacher, but I think we need to just let things go. Yes, I know he ruined the Batman franchise back in the 90s. If he would have never made Batman and Robin, we would have never had the Dark Knight trilogy, so I I made my peace with that. It's easy to crap on Batman and Robin, but a lot of people don't realize he also directed movies like The Phantom of the Opera, and Tigerland, and 8mm, Phone Booth, Flatliners, The Client, The Lost Boys, A Time to Kill. He has a pretty respectable film career as far as I'm concerned, and I give credit where credit's due. Joel Schumacher, he earned the right to rest in peace and be known as a respected filmmaker of your generation. So I thank him for all those years of entertainment. And Falling Down is one of my favorite Joel Schumacher films. And first time I ever saw this film, I was about 10 years old. It was about 93. I was about that age, and it was on cable back in the old HBO, days when everybody had the black box, and you had HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and you know, we had like two in our house, and if I was watching something I wasn't supposed to be watching, my parents could turn it on in their room and they could see, and then you know, somebody would pop into my room real quick, go turn that off. But stories for another time. For when I first got introduced to Basic Instinct, which was a year before this. So yeah, I was already a Michael Douglas fan. Like I said, Basic Instinct, which I should not have watched. Doesn't matter. It's too late. Sorry. Uh, I was a fan because Romancing the Stone. I was a fan of that movie and Jewel the Nile, which I used to catch all the time back in the day on the 2 o'clock weekend movie or the 12 o'clock weekend movie. And yeah, so Falling Down, it's a movie that just blew me away first time I saw it. And Robert Duvall is so good in this movie. So at the beginning of the film, during the opening credits, the movie establishes a traffic jam, and we meet our two main characters. We meet Michael Douglas, whose name we're not told at all. We just, we see him sitting in his car, noticing all the people sitting in their cars and all the little ticks and annoying things that they're doing that are just driving him crazy while he's, sitting in his little tin box in the freeway, not moving at all and just sweating, bullets. And a few cars down the way is Robert Duvall's character, Prendergast, and eventually Prendergast notices quite a bit of honking and stuff when Michael Douglas's character just gets up and leaves his car, just walks away. He's like, "I've had this shit. I'm done." He grabs his briefcase, starts walking. So Michael Douglas's character finds a payphone and makes a phone call. And yeah, payphone because this was 1993. We didn't have the cell phones that we have now. Well, we had the Zach Morris Saved by the Bell cell phones that were like the size of your head. In this scene where Douglas makes this phone call, the other person that ends up answering the phone is his ex-wife, and she is played by Barbara Hershey in a very good supporting performance. And in this scene, we learn that her character is terrified of her ex-husband, and she also has a young daughter, little girl, and her name is Adele, and they're getting ready to celebrate Adele's birthday. And Douglas's character tells her on the phone that he is coming home. And when he tells her that he's coming home, it is terrifying. He is very, very creepy in this role as his character, and he's very convincing. After Douglas's character gets off of the phone after the creepy phone call to his ex-wife, he decides to on foot just head on out there, and he takes a stroll through Los Angeles and has one little misadventure after another. Basically, he gets to meeting all kinds of different characters. He takes a little seat at this hill for a little bit, and he's kind of taking his shoe off. We see he has a hole through his shoe. He's worn it out while he's walking, and he's approached by some gangbangers, some Latino gangbangers, who notice he has a briefcase, and they tell him to give them the briefcase, and they whip out a switchblade knife, and any other person probably would have, should have break and wet themselves, but not this character. He is very casual, very polite, and says, I was, just passing through, and I'll be on my way, and they could have very easily been okay if they would have just been polite back, but no, they had to start waving the knife in front of his face. Any other day, this person sitting on that hill probably would have just been another victim to these gangbangers, but in this case, they're messing with Michael Douglas just after he just took a baseball bat from a Korean grocery store guy who had his store all thrashed by Douglas after Douglas stole his bat because he got pissed off because he was charging 85 cents for a Coca-Cola. So Douglas is not to be messed with at all today, not in this day. And so, yeah, he starts whipping these guys up with the bat. They start running away, and he just starts yelling at them as they're running away from their own turf, mind you. They're running away from this white guy in a, slacks and a white shirt and tie, and he just starts yelling, "I'm going home! Make way! I'm going home!" And yeah, he's so damn crazy as hell. It's so much fun to watch. Just see Michael Douglas kind of unleashed, basically. There are lots of moments in this movie that, because of the nature of the performance from Douglas, we get moments of tension at the same time, a lot of humor in the mix with the tension. Very much happens in the scene where he goes into a fast food restaurant called the Whammy Burger, and he gets really pissed off when they stop serving breakfast, and now it's the lunch menu. And along his walk, he acquires a gym bag full of weapons, and he decides to pull out an Uzi. The scene at the Whammy Burger is one of my favorite scenes. Not only is it tense, but it's also quite funny. Just to see the reactions on all the people's faces when they're sitting down, and he just whips out the Uzi, and for a second he fires it by accident, and everybody starts screaming, and you kind of think to yourself, I know I do, what would I do if I was in that situation? Because it seems like something that could really happen. Robert Duvall's character Prendergast might be on his last day as a cop, but at the same time, he is not done being a cop. He is very much a cop just in nature, in the way that he is picking up all kinds of things throughout the movie and all these little clues that eventually slowly lead him to Douglas's character, because the two of these guys are on a collision course, and at the end of the film, it is quite the scene. And this is a very, very good thriller. This movie is very much worth watching and seeking out. To me, this is one of the best thrillers of the 1990s. This is one of the best Michael Douglas performances. This has one of the best Robert Duvall performances. This has a very good story. This has very taut pacing, excellent direction. The composer James Newton Howard has composed music scores to some of my favorite thrillers. Movies like The Fugitive, Outbreak. He even did the music with Hans Zimmer in the Dark Knight films. And he has a really great, suspenseful, tense score in this movie. As a film, I give this film 4 stars. This is one of my favorite 90s thrillers, and highly recommend it to anybody that just wants some fun popcorn entertainment. So, Falling Down, this is a movie that I have seen on HBO Max if you're looking for it on streaming, but they have hard copies. This is my copy of the DVD. That is Michael Douglas there, and as you can see, he's not feeling very economically viable at the moment. And in order to get that, you got to watch the film. Thank you all very much for watching this review. I very much appreciate it. Those of you that are into movies, if you're this kind of thing, hit the bell and subscribe. I'm always talking about old films. This channel is dedicated to classic films, anything from the 90s all the way down to the 30s and eventually even the 20s when I get into some Marx Brothers stuff. And yeah, that's going to do it for this review, though. So thank you very much. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and be on the lookout for the next classic movie review. Everybody take care of each other. Peace out.